Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wine and Real Estate.
Oui, bonsoir tout le monde.
So tonight, I'm really excited. We have Esther Nicolas and Matthew Regan. I guess you say
you got it, Regan.
Regan. Okay, sorry. I thought about the president, but anyway.
Okay. More
So
people
welcome.
say Regan than Regan, so
There you go. So fellow investors in Ottawa. So I'm really excited. Again, I mentioned I keep being excited. I guess it's the wine, but
it doesn't take much to excite him.
No, that's it. But other Ottawa investors. So you guys
bonsoir. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for having us, François and Jennifer. We're super excited to be here.
Just got the kids down, and we're happy that you do wine for your podcast
tonight.
It's excellent. Yeah, thanks for having us. We're really excited to chat with you tonight.
Yes, and what are you drinking tonight?
What do we got? We got Babiche. We're not super wine connoisseurs, but it's a
good one.
Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, so it's hard to go wrong with New Zealand Sauvignon.
Yeah, one of our favorite ones for sure.
In the summer, we tend to drink a lot more white wine than red. And in the winter time, we switch over to red. What do you have on the go?
We have an oak-aged Merlot Cabernet Carmenère.
Yes.
I have to think about that. It's an assemblage, but it's very good. It's maybe a little bit too wintry, I'll say, like you guys.
A bit heavy, yeah. But I felt like
I
have your wine tonight. I'm like,
we'll have a small glass.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we're really excited to talk to you guys because you guys have really amped up your game, your real estate investing game in the last little while. So why don't you guys introduce yourself for those that don't know you, and maybe just give us a little bit of a historic of what you guys have been doing.
Yes. Sure. So my name is Esther Nicolas, and I'm originally from Saint-Jérôme in the Laurentians. I'm a French teacher, so I studied my bachelor's and master's degree in Montreal, and then after that, we eventually met in Halifax, moved to Montreal for many years, and then to Ottawa. I guess we started investing in 2015 by accident by buying a bungalow, and then we renovated the basement completely and put in a 2-bedroom apartment in there, and then slowly but surely bought more properties, and now we're
and here we are today.
Yes, here we are today, and we decided to, as you said, to take it more seriously in 2021. So hired a coach, and now we're at 28 units so far. So very exciting.
We've been investing. We should say we've been investing since several years now, but taking it more seriously, I'd say probably the last year and a half.
Yes.
Like most.
Introduce yourself first.
I'm Matthew. And originally, I say Halifax because not too many people know where Dartmouth, Cole Harbour area is. But just outside of Halifax, suburbs of Halifax, and grew up there. And I did my undergrad in Halifax. After graduating, I wanted something different, and so I moved to Quebec. And
wow.
lived there for 7 years. And when we looked at the big picture, Ottawa was kind of a good fit for us. I finished my master's degree. I'm a social worker at one of the hospitals here in Ottawa. And I know it's not the most common profession that leads into real estate. You get a lot of accountants and so on, but yes, I'm a social worker. And like Esther said, when we first got into real estate, I guess it happened kind of organically. Like we bought a bungalow, and we didn't need all the space. We'd been living in Montreal, always in small apartments. Didn't need all the space. So like Esther said, we put in a unit in the lower level of the home, rented that out, and it forced appreciation. And as many people know, the price of homes went up drastically in Ottawa over the past, they've been going up every year, but it seemed like it was between maybe 2017 and 2019, it just went up so much. We forced appreciation. We were able to pull some equity out, and we bought another home in Orleans, just east of Ottawa, and it seemed to work for us. We were cash flowing on the secondary dwelling in our own home, and then same thing happened in Orleans. But I don't know if you want to break down each deal, but if you wind us up, you let us go. We'll just.
You're a teacher and a social worker. We tend to talk a lot, so feel free to stop us because we'll just talk about that.
No, but that's awesome because I think that it just shows that there's people from all kinds of backgrounds that are investing in real estate to change their lives. So I think that that's awesome.
It is, and you mentioned, Matthew, a lot of accountants. I've actually never met so far an accountant who's an investor.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish I knew some, but I did meet one guy, but I'm like, okay. Anyway.
I find computer scientists of all professions, accountants, engineers can be a common one. But yeah. I'm actually a big believer that one of the biggest skills is not so much being able to take care of the math side, because obviously you outsource that to accountants.
That's important.
That's important. You need to know how to run your numbers. But I find being able to talk to people and
that's huge.
And negotiate is probably one of the strongest.
Especially in property management.
I
found that it was such an asset to be able to approach people and talk openly and freely. It's been a huge asset for sure.
Well, it's definitely a lot about the relationships. I mean, like the numbers, like you said, SI, it's so important. But building the relationships, like even with other investors, kind of bouncing ideas off of other people, getting information about property management. Like I'm sure when you guys hired your property management, you kind of put your feelers out for other investors. Who are you guys using in that area? So I think that building the relationships is a lot more important than the numbers, because you can't hire that out.
Absolutely. And also too, finding deals, like getting on calls and networking has really paid off for us, because so many people just spend a lot of time on MLS looking for deals, but you have to create deals, and sometimes they're off market. And there's a lot of people out there that are on the fence about selling their homes, but they don't want to post it on MLS. They don't want to get an agent. They don't want to have walkthroughs, et cetera, et cetera. So when you start to, put yourself out there and be able to converse with just about anyone, you come across a lot of deals that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah,
that's so true.
And that's kind of a perfect segue. That's why the Right Club, I associated with them. And Esther as well, you started your own meetup. So that's exciting. And I think that's probably part of it, is building those relationships. So if you could tell us more about it.
Absolutely. Yes, actually, it's not my own meetup. I'm the investor leader for Ottawa.
Okay.
So I want to be very, very clear. The two women who had that idea are Andressa Gidei and Liz Fairclough from the United States. And they are also the host of the podcast, the Real Estate Invest Her Show. And I was listening to it all the time because I thought it was so refreshing to have, two women hosts, and they only have women as guests as well. And from all kinds of, places. Of course, it's based in the US, so
mostly
a lot of American content, but there's, also people from all over. And I just thought that the perspective was so different and interesting. And I knew that they had meetups all over the United States. And I thought it was such a good concept, because every time we've ever gone to conferences and meetups, I always felt like they were great, such amazing conferences and guest speakers. But I often felt like I was not represented in the people who were presenting and the people there as well. It was often older men, to be honest.
And not only that, too, the subject. Like I find a lot of times when you go to like a networking event, there's a bit of, I don't want to say posturing up, but there's a lot of men are kind of quick to jump to, how many doors do you have? What's your cash flow?
Yeah.
And,
what's
you
your
get less of that
cash return and stuff like that. And not that we don't talk about that, but yes, I just felt like sometimes women we need a bit more confidence to to speak up because we're afraid, oh, will we be judged, if we ask that question? So I just wanted to create a space for women to be comfortable asking any question they want or they have about real estate investing, and to also let them see that there's a lot of us. There are a lot of us in Ottawa, there are a lot of us in Canada and in the United States. And to really encourage them to invest, whether it's with their partner or alone if they're on their own. So yes, we started in February with virtual meetups, and Jennifer was our first guest speaker actually. So thank you for coming. But last week was our first in-person meetup, and it went extremely well. It was so humbling and empowering to see all these women, from all ages coming together to talk about real estate investing. So no, I'm really, really excited about that and very passionate about it. And the way I ended up being the investor leader is I reached out to Liz and Andressa and I said, hey, are there any meetups in Ottawa? Because I think it's a fantastic concept, and I think we need it.
The closest one I think was Thunder Bay.
Yeah, so the closest one there is one in Thunder Bay, led by Megan Chomich, who's incredible. Yeah. Yes, you know her, eh?
Yeah.
So Megan was Megan was great. She helped me out at the beginning, and then it just started like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. I didn't know about all of that. That's really cool.
Yeah. What I like about the investor group as well is that it really is a diverse group of women. Like there's people from women from all walks of life that are investing in real estate with or without their husbands. And I think it's just really exciting to see that feedback from that many women. I was so disappointed to miss the in-person.
I know. There will be a lot more. There will be a lot more, so don't worry about it.
We just moved back, so we couldn't. Jennifer was like really, really bad.
Well, and there was an event at my work, and you were just coming back from Toronto. I'm like, oh, what such bad timing. But anyway, next time.
No, there will be many more, and I think the reason why I'm so excited and so passionate about this is I've seen too many women feeling stuck in a relationship and not really being able to go anywhere or do anything about it because they were financially stuck as well. So sometimes they're in abusive relationships or they're in just bad relationships. Sometimes it happens, difficult circumstances, and they don't have anywhere to go or anybody to turn to because they feel stuck financially. And so if, I can contribute in helping in any way, these women, I would be really happy.
Yeah, and it's so sad. Awesome. We see many, we do manage our own properties for the most part in Canada anyway. In the States, a little too far, but Canada, we self-manage, and we do see that a lot with tenants as well. So there's so many abused women. It's shocking. I'm like, are we in the 50s? What's going on? People wake up.
Yeah.
I was raised with totally the different genders and stuff. Like my parents, my dad did the cooking and the cleaning.
Yeah.
My mom came from work and what's for dinner. And so I don't understand that whole concept. Same with Jennifer. I mean, we're more traditional.
Yes.
But at work, she knows how to fix a toilet and talk to plumbers and contractors. I have no idea. They show me things. I don't get it. I talk to Jennifer. What's this part? I don't know, this thing in the faucet. And she knows exactly it needs this part and the valve. And so we're in 2021, wake up people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being independent financially is very important, even for a good relationship. So we share all our finances, but Jennifer makes her own decision. If she wants to buy a property, good for you. Go ahead. Please do.
Yeah. So kind of talking about that whole couple dynamic, how do you guys find that you complement each other with your investments?
Yeah, so I can take this. So we're both equally invested in real estate. We both believe in it as the best investment, the best tool. But we do separate tasks, but we're able to do everything together. So in terms of finding deals, that I feel like I take that on most of the time, but it switches back and forth. So I'm regularly looking at MLS, looking at the different social media platforms, staying in touch with agents, etc.
Yeah, we'll send each other deal, and whoever's more available at that time will underwrite the deal and say, oh yes, this one is worth checking out.
We also self-manage. So for the properties in Ottawa, we self-manage, and so I do most of the communication back and forth with the tenants. Same goes for maintenance. If anything comes up, like I'll do a lot of the communication with the contractors, and on the other side, on the marketing, like Esther is the queen of the marketing, building relationships.
It's definitely
dealing back and forth with the accountant, with lawyers.
Yes, and I take care of insurance, like all the paper, like more of the paper stuff, and listing the ads, taking the pictures, all the.
But one thing that we should say, we can, both of us can do everything. Like some things, obviously, and this applies for everything. Some things, one partner's going to be more comfortable doing, and that's kind of how things naturally divvy up. But if it comes down to, like, if I'm busy with something, then obviously Esther takes it on, and vice versa.
But we completely trust each other, like if he tells me I'm dealing with this, I don't even think about it. It's like gone.
And also something important to bring up, like, and I'm sure you see it on your end, because you're a couple both equally invested. Like we're husband and wives and parents first, and then real estate investors third, right? First and second are husband and parents, and then third comes real estate
careers
and so on. But if ever we feel like a deal just is not worth pursuing anymore, then if one of us says, okay, that's a good stopping point, then we kind of pull out of it.
Yeah, we definitely respect.
And we don't go too far out of our comfort zones with each other.
Yeah, no, I think so far it's been going really well. The split up of tasks, if you can say, and we definitely hire out. That's the key as well, right? Like we used to do a lot of our own work, and we would like clean and paint and renovate, but hiring out as many tasks as we can
now
has really helped out. Whether it's property managers for or outside of the city, like outside of province properties.
And it took some time to get there, because I was driving back and forth to Arnprior and so on, and it was just, I remember we had someone that told us, listen, I don't know why you're not outsourcing something here. Like like if you had a plumbing issue at your Arnprior property, our coach told us, they said, listen, if you had a plumbing issue in your Arnprior property, would you go out? Would you rush out and go take a look at that? Yeah. You're not a plumber. I said, well, no, I'd have them take photos. I'd get a plumber, go deal with it, and send the invoice. And that opened us. That's actually maybe a good segue onto other investments. But he said, well, listen, you should be looking at investing anywhere, because the difference between Arnprior and Saskatoon or the Maritimes or where else,
you still have to make a phone call.
You still have to make a phone call. You can have a property manager deal with it, or you can call the appropriate trades to deal with whatever issues come up.
That's so true, and it's such a good point, because you guys are still working, both of you, full time, I think. So there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
So
you're not experts at everything. Like your coach said, you're not a plumber. So I'm really not a plumber. I can direct things, no problem, if you want things to go wrong.
I find when you can get to that point, when you can tell yourself that you're not an expert, that's where you really start to grow, because the conversations we have with a lot of people that stop them from investing, they're always, well, I'm terrified if there's a roofing, if there's a problem with a roof or a flood or what have you. And so, well, there's professionals that deal with it. You can't be, you can't be an expert at, the accounting, the legal side, the construction side. Like it's too complex.
You just have to build such a good team, and that's where the networking piece comes into action. And I don't know if you read the book Who Not How, but that's such enlightening book where you're like, okay, I just need to find all my who will be really talented and motivated to do all the things that I don't really like to do or that I'm not really good at. So
Yeah, that's so
Exactly.
true. Like Francois, when he fixed something, it's broken more than before.
Yeah, it's not worth it. The how goes out the window.
Yes.
Well, that's
So
it.
this is a perfect time for our little break. So talking about networks and our power team, we do have a sponsor, so Streetwise Mortgages. And I just wanted to share a financing tip. So for those that are listening or will be listening, a tip that helped us scale our portfolio and can help you too. So by working with Streetwise Mortgages, we took a strategic goals-based versus a transactional approach to financing. And for us, it's been very good. They helped us develop a financing roadmap that aligned with our goals and gave us crystal clear clarity on what to do next and where the money will come from to grow. And that's always a question. I'm sure you guys, where's the money coming from next? So, I mean, now you know the answer because you're buying bigger properties. So you've grown beyond that. But usually when you're starting out, that's a big question.
Francois never asks that question. He figures that out after.
But that's it. So Streetwise Mortgages, they'll build a plan for you, and we highly recommend them. So it's free. You can get a consultation with their team. You can just send them an email at info@streetwisemortgages.com, and they'll build a tailor-made roadmap for financing. They're gonna analyze your situation, and it can help you to even have where to invest.
Research to the 18 best areas to invest in Ontario.
So that's it. So call Streetwise Mortgages. So streetwisemortgages.com. Dalia Barsoum and her team, they're excellent. And yeah, that's it. Back to the show.
Yeah. So to get back into it, I think that a great thing that I'm dying to know about is your new acquisition near Halifax.
It's in Truro.
In Truro. So that's about 45 minutes outside of Halifax.
Okay.
About a half hour from the Halifax International Airport. It's an upcoming city because it's kind of termed the hub of Nova Scotia, but
there's a Starbucks. That's a big point.
Yeah, this is for investors. If you want to see what's up and coming, go look at where Starbucks are opening because they have a whole team that researches into trends, and you might as well piggyback on their research. But,
it's no joke, really. It's a very good sign that things are up and coming in an area.
Yeah,
always, yeah.
Absolutely, but great economy, very low vacancy rates. It has a good economy. It has a university. Dalhousie University has a campus in Truro. There's healthcare there, so it's a great city to invest in. And we were looking to move into multifamilies. Like what was working for us, like we said, we started off with a secondary dwelling. We ended up. And it sounds quick, but we worked our tails off to get.
Yes, it sounds really easy. The first property is super hard to get, and then doing the renos and everything, and then it gets easier and easier.
It snowballs.
Yeah, yes, and so we got a few single family properties. We wanted to scale up into multifamilies for a lot of reasons. But yeah, so we started looking for deals, and we got connected to a network of investors. And this is maybe an important thing to kind of put out there because a lot of people have fear in doing this, but it's very hard to find a great multifamily property that cash flows, is in a great city. These are difficult deals to come by, and a lot of people sit on the sidelines waiting for the right deal to come up.
The unicorn deal.
The unicorn deal, perfect deal to come their way, and you only have so much time in your day. If you're connected to wholesalers, great, and we are, but we have a number of partners, and so many people will turn down a deal that comes across their desk simply because it's not a deal that they found. So we have a contact in Halifax, a partner of ours, and we bought into a deal. We're part owners in it. We're equity partners on title.
So he's the one who found the deal. It's an off-market deal, and so we're equity partners, and we we don't manage it in terms of feet on the ground, because he's the one who's over there.
We're
it's
very
us
much
and two other partners. And
but you learn how to underwrite deals, and you learn how to recognize a good deal from a bad one. And when we came across this deal, it was proposed to us, we researched it inside out, and we knew it was an excellent deal. Of course, I know the area because I'm from Nova Scotia. And it was just something that I knew would work. And rather than sitting on the sidelines, we said, you know what, this is excellent. We'll be owners, and we'll be on title, and we'll be a part of the deal. And it's better to have a piece of a pie than not have any pie at all. So
that's awesome.
Or as we like to say too, half a watermelon instead of like a blueberry, or like a grape. It's
probably a better one.
Well, there's all kinds of analogies out there, but no, it's
but yeah, and it's turning out to be an excellent deal, because it's a 25 unit property, and there's 3 commercial. So it's a 22 residential, mainly 2 bedrooms, a few 1 bedrooms. There's maybe 1 or 2 3 bedrooms, and then there's 3 commercial units. And we got it for a great price. Basically, we got it it was at 1.7 million.
1.6.
1.6 negotiated down at 1 point. Yeah, initially at 1.6.
Wow.
It's now we've turned over,
which is good when you think of what you can buy now. 1.6.
Yeah, we've got our mind.
In Ottawa.
And so we were able to turn over now almost half. It's likely that we're going to be able to turn over about half of the units, and each unit is about a $300 raise.
Wow.
$300 lift in the rent rate. And so we're anticipating it's likely going to appraise.
There were already units that were vacant and were scheduled to be vacant. I want to be very clear that we don't ever do renoviction or whatever they call where you evict and like it's not something we
just let it happen naturally.
Yeah, when you have and that's another beauty of multifamilies. Like a lot of the tenants at this property they're going to rent for a couple of years. They're saving up a down payment. They're buying their own home and they're moving on, and then you're able to bring it back up to market rent. And so that's what's happening. We're turning over each unit, and with every turnover, there's some cosmetic renos, and then we're able to fill it with another tenant. And because of the increase in income, obviously that increases the value of that property. So it's likely going to come back appraised probably 2.2 or so.
No. We made the money on the buy because it was appraised at 2.2.
Yeah.
Wow.
The moment we bought it, like on closing day, but we got it for 1.6. So when all the renos are done, we're thinking within a year we'll be able to refinance, and it's going to be a lot more than 2.2. So it's really worth it. And we're providing quality housing for these tenants and these people. So it's our thing is, if we wouldn't live there happily, then it's not good enough for the tenants. So we like it nice and renovated, but not too much. Like there's always that line where, okay, do I go granite countertops or not? As in burrs, you have to calculate what's worth it.
We have to go with the market as well. I mean, we've had Cornwall properties where we're obviously not going to put granite countertops. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do so. But maybe in an Ottawa building, it might make sense depending on the area and what kind of clientele that you're wanting to attract. And everything
or in
like
New
that.
Brunswick, we have like a really much higher end property, and that one you can go all out. Like the people that are renting it were downsizing from an 8,000 square foot house, so it's a very different clientele. It's like, wow, okay, you're downsizing. I thought this was big, but okay.
I just feel that that's kind of tricky because it's hard to hit that sweet spot and making the renovations just good enough that you're not putting too much money in, because there is kind of a tipping point, or there is a ceiling on how much you can ask for in terms of rent. But
absolutely.
Yeah, and if you can't command the higher rent because you put granite countertops, then maybe it's not worth it.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And another thing too, a lot of people get stuck in making a property. If we like Esther said, we wouldn't take on a property that we wouldn't be willing to live in. But a lot of people kind of get stuck in getting their dream apartment. But we have to kind of rewind the clock to say, when we were 21, would we live in this?
Absolutely. And that being said, I'm totally okay with buying a property that I wouldn't live in at the moment, but that we have the vision to renovate, and that's also important. Don't get stuck on the color of the walls and the flooring, because you can do so much more with it. And you want to have properties that you can add value to, right? So.
Absolutely. It's not HGTV, right?
No, my goodness.
It's fun to watch, but it's not really practical.
No.
Yeah. Jam it all into a 22-minute show. You have to cut the boring stuff, running the numbers. And all that.
Doesn't make sense. So for this deal, do you mind walking us through a bit more how it's structured? Is it a corporation? Are you part of a holding, or and financing? What did you do, if you don't mind sharing?
Yes, of course. No problem.
Sure. So it is under a corporation. So we have a holding corp for this property, and there are other partners involved. There's 4 of us. Like I said, it was acquired for 1.6. It was initially 1.7. We got it in June. It was appraised at 2.2. In terms of the numbers, like it's the cash on cash came in really high. It came in at 10%. So I know that's kind of unheard of in Ontario, but in other markets you can find that cap rate ended up being 6.6. So cash flow is, I think, a little over $3,000 a month, and then yearly it's about 38 or so. 38,000.
40,
close to 40 now with the
yes.
lifts. So it works out to be about 60, just under 70,000 per unit. How that deal ended up working out. And but yes, we have it under a corporation. What? Oh, sorry. There's a JV partnership, and we had a vendor take back of 100,000 on it.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great deal, actually.
And then with a small vendor take back like that, that's a question I'm burning to ask, because we've been offered many times small vendor take backs, and a lot of lenders don't look kindly on that. So we left that one to our managing partner back home. And we don't, in terms of preferences, we didn't have one. If in terms of if making the deal work, and if that's something that the seller was open to, then
and we have private lenders that don't have any equity in the deal, and we are also money partners on that deal. So I know a lot of people buy without any of their own money, and for us, for that case, it's not our case. We obviously did not use all of our money for that, because that's a lot, but we did use some of our money, but we have private lenders, and all the partners have some skin in the game as well. So
and that's how the VTB worked. Okay.
Yes.
Because banks, most lenders, you need like a huge VTB, and then you get a private lender. You can't. They don't like mixing.
We've come across that a few times, but but for this one, it worked out to.
And we found that sometimes, realtors and sellers, they're not really aware of VTBs. They don't really know what it is. So we don't start right away with that, because then it really scares them off. But we found that we've had to educate people a lot about it. And once they understand how beneficial, it can be for everybody, they're more open to it. But yes, a tip would be not to go right away with the VTB, because then they're like, oh, maybe they can't afford it, or this.
Well, a great way to do is to start off with, like, what is it that the seller wants? Do they want to get out of this deal quickly? How much debt do they have on the property, right? If the property is totally paid off, then they have a huge tax issue, really. So they may be able to be more tax efficient by taking on a vendor take back and stretching it out over a term. But usually that should, ask a little bit at first, but don't push too much, and then later on down the line you can kind of bring it up.
Our main thing is to try to create win-win situations, where everybody gets what they want, and to solve problems,
That's so important. So other than the price per door, how do you guys find that investing in the Maritimes differs from Ottawa?
Certainly a lot less competition. That's for sure. Like
although there's more competition than there used to be.
That's for sure.
In Ottawa, the market it's oversaturated. I think there's a lot of competition in Ottawa, and it's difficult to find deals that are cash flowing. You have a lot of competition. In the Maritimes, there's less. And it seems like homes stay on the market a bit longer. There's less offers. I find agents are a lot easier to deal with. They're easier to reach. What else? I shouldn't say there's a ton. I haven't come across too many like big differences.
In terms of our tenant profile here in Ottawa, it's a lot of government workers and master students and profiles like that. And in Truro, there's a lot of like blue collars, I would say.
A lot of blue collar. But I think there's probably neighborhoods. I mean, this is maybe more so in Halifax, but there's neighborhoods that are going to be very comparable to what you're seeing in Ottawa. But you get outside of the city into the suburbs, less competition on.
I think the laws in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are a little bit more, beneficial for the landlords compared to Ontario, where the tenants, are very, very protected. Ontario and Quebec even more so. Yes, that would be.
Landlord-tenant board is a bit different, but I wouldn't say it's so drastically different that it you should be totally looking away from Ontario altogether and only at the Maritimes. Like there's great deals to be found
anywhere, really.
You have to make it. You have to make the deal work. But great deals can be found anywhere.
And you have to be creative too. Sometimes you need to transform the whole basement into something, or you need to find extra units, or find some storage or whatever you can do. But deals can definitely be made and found anywhere.
Absolutely. So what's next for you guys? What are you guys hoping to do before the end of 2021 or in 2022?
Yeah, we want to.
Yes, we want to. Well, the goal, I know it sounds bizarre because so many people who invest in real estate, their end goal is to leave their jobs and, retire early. And to be completely honest, we really love our jobs. We're not trying to get out of it or anything. We just really like the freedom and the options that real estate investing can give us. So the moment we had children, I know it's not original as an answer, but the moment we had children, we're like, whoa, we want to be able to spend as much time as possible with these kids. And we want to be able to stay home if we need to, if anything happens, because you never know, right? If there's health issues or anything.
We want to get another deal before the end of the year, but just to go back to what Esther was saying, our why is not. It's the common why, and that you hear people saying the reason why we're doing this is because of our children and so on. But we enjoy our jobs, and we
have good pensions.
But we want to obviously, we want to continue scaling up as long as we can do it, and it doesn't take too much of our time, because like Esther said, it gives us options. That maybe at one point we could work on a part-time basis, or if we wanted and we weren't relying on our paycheck, we could donate our paycheck. Lots of different things we can.
So definitely, multifamilies now, we only look at, I should say only, if there's a really, really, really good deal that we can't, say no to.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we look at 10 units and over. And it can be anywhere in Canada as well. We're very, happy to hire property management, and we have a team, a pretty good group of investors who have contacts all over the country. So that's really helpful, when you need someone to go check out a property or anything like that. So yes, multifamilies and just continue to scale up and have fun with it. Because it's we don't want it to turn into another job. It really is a passion.
There's something beautiful about providing housing too. Like it's a great moment. Like after you do your walkthroughs, when you have a turnover and you see, when you're granting tenancy and you're signing the lease and you see the excitement in your new tenant. Like there's something beautiful about that. Like we enjoy it. We love doing this, and we're going to continue to do it, and we want to get another deal before the end of the year, and yes, financial freedom is the end goal, but it's not to retire or anything. We'll always be busy.
We'll always be busy, that's for sure, because we love that. But there's something very freeing when you go to work, but you don't really need to. You go to work because you're just really passionate about it. So I don't think I'll ever stop teaching. Because I love it, but it's just really nice to invest in real estate. We're having fun with it, and we're passionate about it.
Oh, that's so refreshing to hear, because a lot of people do. I mean, not that it's bad, but everyone wants to seem to quit their job and retire. But I think that there is something to be said about somebody who does want to keep doing their job because they're passionate about it. Because can you imagine the difference of somebody doing their job who wants to go in and do it because they're passionate about it, compared to somebody who's just going for the paycheck?
It's that feeling of not being stuck, that I was talking about earlier, whether it's in a relationship or in a job, or that feeling of freedom where you can choose for yourself what you want to do, whatever it is.
I choose to be here. I choose to do that. It's so true, and that's the new kind of motto of the Right Club, is customize your life. So we were all about come grow with us, but now it's going to be customize your life, and the goal is really customizing, like you guys are doing for your kids, preparing a future. If you need it, you need to quit your job, you can, but hopefully you don't, if you like it and there's a good pension. But who knows what the future holds? But with this, it's like an extra buffer or a safety net. So
I think so many people get fixed on, if I get so many doors, I can take my hands off the steering wheel and everything will just go smoothly. And maybe you won't have to work as hard. But I think at the end of the day, if you are the owners of those properties, right, you'll have to manage the property managers, right? You may have several properties. You will always have some kind of connection to those.
It's not completely passive, right?
It's passive, but it's not so, depending on how you see passive, right? It's not as passive.
I don't think that's really.
There's a lot of people think passive.
Private lending is passive. Everything else is
Exactly.
Well put.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's kind of late as well and everything. So for sharing your story with us and your passion, where can people find you? So we did share in the details, but just to make sure, what's the best way to get a hold of you if they have questions or have the money they want to invest with you?
So you can write us an email at matterrealestate@gmail.com. So that's matter for Matthew and Esther, MATTER, real estate in one word, @gmail.com. And you can also find us on Instagram. I'm Esther the Investor.
And I'm it's not as creative. Matthew.d.Regan, Regan. And we're also on Facebook. It's Matthew Regan.
Yes. So please, reach out. We're always so happy to connect with other investors or anybody who's interested in real estate and want to hear about it. We're happy to chat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we love watching your reels. They have good little tidbits in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Esther the investor.
I'm having a little bit too much fun. I have to say.
I can see the teacher in there, definitely.
Yes, like it's like the perfect scenario. Like, you know, it brings the passion about real estate investing and teaching together. So yes, I'm really enjoying it. Thank you.
She takes care of that side among many, many, many other things.
Yes, Matt doesn't want to come in my reels yet. Maybe I'll convince him.
I'll break the ice one of these days, and you'll see me doing those pointing.
Eventually.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the difference between a reel and a post and a story.
I don't know.
Too much for us.
Yes, our daughter helps us with that because I don't know. She's like, you guys aren't doing any reels. I'm like, okay, do the reel. But thanks again, guys. Any last words of advice or wisdom to share before we close?
Honestly, get out there, you know, get out there, tell people what you're doing. I know it's uncomfortable sometimes. We used to be a little bit uncomfortable talking about that, especially with our family and our colleagues. But if people don't know what you're doing, they can't, you know, invest with you, and they can't give you some leads for properties and
if
things
you,
like that. So.
You just start, like, there's a lot of people that do a whole lot of learning in real estate. They learn how to underwrite deals, and they learn about the legal sides of it. They learn about the Landlord-Tenant Act. They do a whole lot of learning, a whole lot of networking, but they actually don't take action. You need to do your learning. That's very important. You don't want to not know about real estate and what you're getting into, but at one point or another, you do have to kind of push down the anxiety and take action
and take some calculated risks, you know, because you know, yes, there are risks. You may fail at some point. Everybody does, but then it's a learning experience, and you do better next time. As long as you have, you know, a support system and you know what you're getting.
If you're able to purchase the property and the numbers work, you should buy the property. Don't wait for, like Esther said, the unicorn deal. If the cash flows, buy it, and then if another great deal comes up, buy that one too.
Yes. We personally buy for cash flow. We personally buy for cash flow, and the appreciation is the cherry on top. It always appreciates, you know, for the most part in the markets where we buy. But it has to cash flow for us to go with it, because then it's recession proof, and we like that.
All right.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much. And we'll have to catch up again in a few months and see where you're at now.
Absolutely.
This
was fun.
It was really fun. Cheers, guys. Thank you for having us.
Salut.
Salut. OK, bonne soirée.
Bonne soirée.